producers have to pass that cost on if they can't pay their bills to the consumers, and then the consumers pay more.
Washington businesses weigh in on President Trump's new tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Their message to consumers tonight. Plus,
tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again.
Tariffs just one of the topics President Trump touched on during his joint address to Congress tonight. What else he said and how local lawmakers are reacting.
Rain moved out. We have sunshine and mild temps returning to the forecast in the days to come.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 Night Report. I'm Mark Hanrahan. President Donald Trump addressed a joint session of Congress and the American people tonight, highlighting his accomplishments during his first 6 weeks back in the White House. He took the occasion as a victory lap, but Democrats see a very different picture. CBS News correspondent Erica Brown reports on the speech and reaction from Capitol Hill.
President Trump got an enthusiastic welcome from Republicans in the House chamber and an icy one from Democrats as he addressed a joint session of Congress.
We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years.
The speech had just started when Texas Democratic Representative Al Green repeatedly interrupted the president. He was escorted out. Trump's address came less than 24 hours after tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China went into effect, triggering retaliatory measures and tumbling stocks on Wall Street. Some economists have warned that tariffs could eventually raise prices.
Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly.
Trump touched on Russia's war with Ukraine following his contentious meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides.
With Elon Musk in attendance, the president endorsed his Department of Government Efficiency and slashing the size of the federal government. Some Democratic lawmakers invited fired workers to watch the speech.
Everybody here, even this side, appreciates it, I believe.
Trump's overall theme for his speech tonight was renewal of the American dream, and he returned to the signature issue of his campaign, border security.
We quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded.
Michigan freshman Senator Alyssa Slotkin delivered the Democratic response.
America wants change, but there's a responsible way to make change and a reckless way. And we can make that change without forgetting who we are as a country and as a democracy.
Senior administration officials told CBS News Trump was heavily involved in the writing of his speech, making his own edits. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And with Trump's tariffs now in effect, here's where you will likely feel the hardest punch to prices. First up, food. America gets a large supply of fruit and vegetables from Mexico, while we usually get grain and meats from Canada. We could also see prices going up for electronics, toys, and appliances as China supplies us with cell phones, TVs, and home appliances. Also on the list, cars and car parts. We are starting to learn how local businesses in Washington could be impacted by the new tariffs. Seattle-based company Alki Lumber explained that because they have such a large backstock, they'll be able to retain regular prices for now. However, depending on supplies, when they have to refill their backstock, that's when prices could jump, they say. Conventional lumber like cedar comes from Canada, so they expect prices to increase. However, they are not sounding the alarm just yet. Meanwhile, Seattle-based Stoop Brewing shares that they are bracing for the worst because they get a lot of their base grain from Canada.
Higher costs to producers have to pass that cost on if they can't pay their bills to the consumers, and then the consumers pay more.
We're not going to say today 25% increase in the price of lumber. No. Our 2x4s will cost the same as they did yesterday.
For both the lumber and brewing industries, it's very much a wait-and-see situation. Both businesses say they'll know more once they have to reorder supplies from vendors. Meantime, here in the Inland Northwest, companies say they are feeling the pressure from the tariffs. One Pullman business already seeing shipment delays and rising costs. Schweitzer Engineering Labs does business in 170 countries and has long embraced free trade with Mexico and Canada. With the new tariffs, the company will likely have to make sacrifices to stay competitive and keep those partnerships alive, they say. Schweitzer Engineering Lab says they'll do everything they can to avoid layoffs and cutting employee pay. All eyes turn to Washington, D.C. tonight for the president's address, including those right here in the inland Northwest. KREM 2's Cody Proctor heard from newly elected congressmen and local Democrats to get their perspective on tonight's address. Cody?
Mark, it was a night with a lot of anticipation going in about what exactly the president would talk about. That included Eastern Washington's newly elected Republican Congressman Michael Baumgartner. The congressman shared his predictions and his hopes before President Donald Trump's Tuesday night address to Congress.
I think there'll be some cheers from the Republican side and hopefully not too many jeers from the other side. You know, I do worry about the hyperpartisanship of America, so I hope we can have a unifying moment tonight for our Congress.
Those hopes were quickly dashed.
The chair now directs the Sergeant at Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
The congressman, who invited Wilbur Creston High School teacher Stacy Nash as his guest, spoke with KREM 2 after the address.
How do you think it went tonight?
I think it was a great night for America. You know, I think President Trump took a deserved victory lap after everything that, he went through in terms of nearly getting shot.
The president spoke on several topics, including tariffs. On Tuesday, tariffs with Canada, China, and Mexico went into effect, with each country responding with their own retaliatory tariffs.
I do have concerns on tariffs impacts on people in Washington State. I've always been, very clear on that, and we'll look forward to working with the president to make sure that he understands those costs.
Meantime, Washington Senator Patty Murray, who did not attend the address, offered a different take on President Trump's second term so far.
Despite what we are going to hear tonight here, the true state of our nation is that Musk and Trump have ground it to a halt because they are blocking important funding, in total disregard of the law, by the way, and total lack of concern over how their actions put Americans and American jobs at risk.
In Idaho, Cooney County Democrats Chair Evan Koch shared a statement prior to the president's speech.
While Trump's showmanship at the podium might make for entertaining television, it's destroying the American dream.
And looking ahead from Tuesday night's address, Congressman Baumgartner recently posted on the social media platform X he planned to have 3 town halls on March 17th. That's despite Speaker Mike Johnson encouraging Republican lawmakers to skip them due to protesters. The congressman told me he's still planning to have those town halls. In the newsroom, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
And let's talk weather now. It seems sunshine is in our future. Let's get right over to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Good. Jeremy, we did have some rain, though, tonight when I went home for dinner. The roads were all wet out there.
Yeah, and thankfully, or however you want to look at it, that rain has worked its way out. Rain moved out quite quickly, and on the backside of it, well, we have a much drier forecast heading into the weekend. That drier forecast starts tonight, 40 degrees, but with clear skies and a dew point of 34, Those temperatures are just going to keep dropping. Still a few showers coming down in parts of North Idaho. We're going to track those for a little bit longer, but I don't think you can expect too much more out of them, especially up in the mountains where you're going to see a little more of that activity, especially in the way of snow. Just be ready for a slow go if you're driving over a mountain pass in the morning. That seems to be about the extent of it. Don't expect anything too crazy. Tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to mostly cloudy skies. We'll see a couple of breaks in those clouds throughout the day. Thursday is when the sunshine returns, and in a big way, and seriously in a big way. 48 tomorrow with some of that cloud cover, 51 on Thursday, 53 and mostly sunny come Friday.
Back in with you later in the show. Also new tonight, we are learning that 9 Spokane police officers involved in the January 2024 shooting will not face any charges. The county prosecutor determined the officers were justified in their actions of shooting and killing an armed suicidal man on the South Hill. Police say they opened fire when Craig Anglisano pointed a gun at them.
Being able to be flexible, the behavioral health field is constantly changing.
Coming up next, a Spokane nonprofit one step closer to expanding their care and helping those with substance abuse. And one snowboarder for Spokane Valley will be representing the U.S. at the Special Olympics. We'll introduce you to him coming up next.